Do that to Sam.
Wow.
Well, I don't suppose it'd be common knowledge of a church of what kind of church would deal with curses? That'd probably be like a holy church of some kind. Like, I'm trying to think of a example here. Like Forgotten Realms, Lathander, whatever the fuck his name is, the church of that guy. That'd probably deal with curses. So whatever the equivalent of that is here.
You guys.
Do you have a map of a city made yet?
The only map that I currently have is this one, but that is being remade to one that's not internet stolen.
Well, this gives us a general idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, 11 right here looks like a church.
This 11?
Yeah, that kind of has like the shape of a church.
So
Wait a minute, because that one actually is something, and I wrote it down, but I got to find it.
Oh,
Looks more like a slaughterhouse.
That is the tavern.
Depending on the church, it could be a slaughterhouse.
What about 4?
Yeah, possibly.
4, I do not have anything written down for, so 4 could be the church. I can do that.
Dope.
Looks like that center of town. You can go there. Easy to get to. 11 makes sense too over here. Because it's right in the dead center of the road, City Square.
Yeah. Because no matter what, before we start doing renovations, we gotta get rid of that curse. Because if that curse is literally everything new gets worn down and ruined much quicker, it means we're gonna be wasting money on trying to get nice things in that are gonna get fucked up by this stupid fucking curse.
If he could have dealt with it that easily, don't you think he'd have done it?
Well,
to be fair, he did also run out into the street and promptly get hit by a cart. I don't know about his intelligence.
Could have been too scared to get rid of it. Might have retaliated against him. We have no idea.
Could have been too far in the pit financially, too, to get it dealt with, but we've actually got money at the moment to deal with it, so.
Or we could just get, Charles to try and pretend wife the ghost, then we could hit her.
I don't think we know it's a ghost.
We don't know much of anything about it. And frankly, I'm just going for hopeful optimism. Hoping I can hit something.
Yeah, I think we should just go ask where the next closest church is. If there is one here.
Yeah, and if that doesn't work, maybe... I keep forgetting he has detect magic, so theoretically speaking, if the curse is tied to an object, that is magical, so maybe you could track down where exactly the curse is tied to.
And if nothing else, we could always just get him to bless the stones.
That could work.
So we're going to ask Goldchild or the secretary about church or holy person around here.
I know what a church is.
Oh, that works perfectly then.
Hold for talent.
Lead on.
Uno, momento.
Are you coming or aren't you?
I'm right next to you.
The hell you are!
I'm impressed by your ability to throw your voice, Rutrin.
The hell are you talking about?
Well, I'm standing right next to you, but it sounds like you're off in the distance.
Of course you are! After sprinting for 40 paces.
I have done no such thing.
Damn humans with the pretend limps. Wife to you, cooking. Sweet face. You're lucky you're half cultured with that beard. Right, smack you one.
Don't even think I could think of a reply to that.
A confused chuckle.
Just the nod of the head. Just
You said this town had no guard, so was this place literally lawless?
Goldchild is law, basically.
What does his law look like, though?
One would
Hey, your
assume his
mother-
law looks a lot like you go into his business and you wreck a bunch of things. The collector comes to get you.
There can't be only one, though, can there? For an entire city like this?
Are you daft? You think one herring gun goes everywhere and kills everybody?
I have no idea.
It's simple. The collector is just a face to probably an entire group of individuals. It's almost like a childhood story parents would tell their kids to keep them from running around in the street.
An
You
entire
probably read
army of
something like
herring guns. They breed them to kill.
Probably not that. But who knows?
You're no fun.
Silence.
I think my favorite part is imagining you guys having this conversation while walking to the church.
Oh, yeah.
It'd actually be rather funny if it turned out Goldchild dealt with it himself half the time. I feel
would
like that
love that.
might secretly be hiding some saber skills or something along those lines.
He looked like he could have ended us in that room. He didn't look perturbed at all.
They say to never be afraid of the man who's walking towards you angrily screaming. Be afraid of the one who's looking you cold dead in the eyes and not saying a word as he moves towards you.
All I can think of was Samurai Jack in that moment. I don't know why.
It's accurate.
He's such a badass. That show is so good.
Oh, hell yeah.
Alrighty, so you guys walk for a little bit. While it's not very far, you do slow down a little bit as you're having your conversation and passing. But you guys eventually make it to the church that is in this city. It is quite tall, oddly shaped. The cemetery sits on the left side. There's not a huge number of stairs, but if you're much littler than a dwarf, it's a little bit much. But the building itself on the outside looks quite pristine, and it is well lit, but a nice ambiance of candlelight on the inside that you can see from the windows.
Are the doors closed?
The doors are closed.
I go up and it's open.
And they swing open just fine.
Very light sounding doors.
Need more grease. Hey, preacher man! The bell tolls for me. I have a job for you.
Is the whole place empty?
The whole place is empty. Church is not currently in session. There are some nuns that are down below if you see that there's a staircase here, but the priest is currently at the podium at the front reviewing things. Spiral, you are said priest, and his name I will send you because nobody's asked.
What?
What?
How does this preacher look?
He stands at an average height, I'd say about 5'11". He has a white beard. You cannot tell the length of his hair, though for a priest, you imagine it's quite short. He is not athletically built, but he does look like he eats healthily, so he's not scrawny. Let me send you a picture actually in the chat. If I could stop clicking out of things, that would be better. Oh, of course, it's going to make you click on the image. Anyway, I'll fix that later. He holds a staff that has a type of cross on it, but not the normal like Jesus cross. The cross kind of happens in the middle instead of towards the top. His robes are white and almost a golden yellow color. And you do see that he does also carry a sword with him. Depending on the priests that you've seen in other cities before coming here, that may or may not seem a bit odd to you. But other than that, the top of his hat thing, thank you, DG, is a much taller. You honestly can't tell where his head ends inside of it, but it is a little bit taller and flows down to just above or just below his mid back. Spiral it's Osis Theocre.
God, who is this man?
All of this is me improving. I haven't got to write anything. They wanted to play. I'm doing what I can, man.
Oh, I know. I might have missed it editing stuff. Did you guys say what you came here for?
He just said we have a job for you as he barged in.
Did you catch that, Spiral?
I think.
Or did he said that they have a job for you as they barged in.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. How may I be of service?
A pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Rotran Silverstone. These are several of my partners. We wish to...
Greetings, greetings.
Yes. We wish to incur your services to remove some such curse or spirit or some such flouncing cock-drivel layabout spectre that is currently infesting a building for the price of 100 gold crowns and costs entered therein, so long as they do not exceed 150 gold.
I roll my eyes. The old theater is currently cursed, and we want to remove it.
That's just what I said, yes.
Kind of.
I mean, he basically said that.
Wow, that was quite a lot. Where did you say this location? What area is cursed again?
The building that is currently underneath this heinous spook or whatever mysterious curse it is currently within the purview of the theater.
Theater Old Mergrim. I
Yes,
see.
we purchased the place from him. And as we've discovered, there's a bit of a curse under its roof. And while it's not exactly the most dangerous, it will certainly make things more difficult for getting the old theater back and up and running.
Well, the troubling part about this, it seems, is that my capabilities would not allow me to remove curse. I could probably examine and identify that there is one, but that seems to be established already. But if the best I could do for you is perhaps send word out to a neighboring town to a colleague of mine who I know can remove a curse, but that could take a couple days.
Could you discern the nature of the curse?
Possibly.
Had Mergrim ever come to you to tell you about the troubles at the theater?
In some shape or form, he would not come to me personally, but I would hear him. In social gatherings, he kind of wouldn't keep it to himself if he was under the cups a little bit. He's a lightweight.
Not a man of faith, maybe? Seems strange.
it's been quite difficult for him since he moved away from his family, his great grandchildren. He's quite old AF, or is how some of you kids say. I don't know what that means, but he's old AF.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
You all continue to be completely oblivious to what it means because he said, as you kids say these days, I don't know what it means.
I am a 50-year-old man, and I have no sense for what cock-dribbles kids are saying these days. As a personal inquiry, should this thing happen to be some form of specter or spook or ghost or who knows what,
What?
would you, being a professional, allow me to inquire as to whether or not I can hit with my hammer?
Can you bless his hammer?
What?
Well, to be fair, if it's
Can
a
you-
spectre of some sort, you can burn
I
them as
didn't
well.
sneeze.
To harm the ghost, your weapon will need to be blessed.
That's why I'm asking
Or
if I can hit
magical.
the thing.
Is your hammer magic?
Is the priest portable?
What?
Wilton, please.
If the thing is going to attack us in the dead of night, I'm not going to have this man, strapped to my back at all times. I need to know if I can hit him.
What our eccentric friend here is trying to ask Priest is, would you be able to come over and just confirm our thoughts on...
You guys would give me a
Origin of the
second to
story.
breathe and just hold off on the comedy gold for a second.
Never.
Hold on. I forgot what this dude sounded like. I twice heard.
You know what? It's fine. Just
Just
Roderick
sound
can
old.
totally have broken him, and now he's got a new accent.
Yeah, this priest actually has like 6 different personalities. It changes.
Does his religion change with the personality?
You don't know.
That would
That's
be
inside
an
check, buddy.
amazing. That'd be an amazing player character thing.
Who else could pull it off?
All right, so he wants to know if he can hit it with a stick.
Hit the curse. You mean?
It would be preferable.
But maybe if the curse has a source, have you identified exactly where the source of the curse is coming from? Is it the ground, something in the building itself?
So as far as we've been able to discern, it is somehow passed by way of contractual obligation.
So the contract.
Aye.
So what I'll do, because I was not at my computer to type quick enough, what that would say to you, Spiral, is that it's not so much the person that's cursed, but the land. If said cursed exists.
Indeed. Well, it seems like this is very urgent, so let's be on our way. Lead me there. Let's go.
What do you want for this?
Oh, I couldn't imagine that. This would be of no charge. It would be great to rid this town of a curse. I'm sure many people would benefit from it, but as I said before, I lack the capability to remove curses. I can identify one and send word to someone who can, but
Nonsense. I've seen men twice your age perform magical feats of insane skill. Though most of them were dwarfs, you understand. I'm sure you're fine.
yes. Indeed.
Alrighty.
I
So
don't
you
go
guys
anywhere.
do it.
I just said, she get on going.
Yeah, are you guys leaving right now and going right back to the theater?
Yep, we're taking him to the
Might
theater.
as well, yeah.
Okay, so are you guys going to the theater or the top floor or bottom floor of the building?
We'll start at
First,
the entrance.
yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting. Alright, as you leave the church, a brick falls down and beans the old guy in the head and he dies.
That would have been funny.
It was like, what is this, old British comedy?
Alrighty, you guys arrive at the front door, essentially, of the theater, and these are still here because those are the last things that Max lit up. As you are walking up to it, having your conversation about everything that is going on, I'll let you guys pick up that conversation.
And the last thing we know about it, he just snuffed out the lights right before we went to bed.
And from what we've gathered, it's some kind of curse of withering, in a sense, but not on an individual. Instead, it supposedly will make it so that you'll probably notice it, but some things are somewhat in disrepair or need maintenance inside, and potentially that is brought about by the curse and not by the rage.
I open the door and let everyone in.
I can't move.
Oh, right. Duh. Hold on. Let me fix that.
And I start bringing up more lights on.
And standing on the stage is a naked man doing the toga. Ugh. Spooky.
Okay, see if you can move him now.
That's after you.
Are these balconies?
They are. Yeah, there's more seating underneath of them, but because this is a top-down view, you can't see the seating under it.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
What are you playing? Are you on the computer?
Yeah, hold on, let me refresh the page.
Yeah, when I
I
said
saw
he
it.
was old, I didn't mean decrepit. He can walk just fine.
No, I saw everyone outside. Like, why am I the only one inside?
Oh no, we're all inside.
Yeah,
I
he
think
had to
we're the
refresh
ones
roll 20.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Darkbus, I think the priest is blind.
No, not blind at all, my friend. Just old.
That confirms it. He's blind. His hearing is great.
I don't believe that's how it works, Rotrin.
That is entirely how it works. I've been alive for a long time.
I've been alive for not that long, and I know for a fact that that's not how it works.
He's
Arguing with a
gonna
dwarf
look.
is a bad idea.
He's gonna look like right here where there's no one, and kind of squint and say, "I do believe you're poking fun at me, are you not?" Oh, there you are.
My character looks at
so-
Maxwell. Who is he talking to?
Yo.
Looks like he's talking to the floor.
Is it the specter?
I can see it.
Well, I can hit him with that hammer. 5 answers
Hey.
my question.
Would he get like any chills down his spine just from being in here?
I mean, sure, it's a drafty building.
Well, I can't. Outside of character, what level does cleric be? So I'm not over asking anything of him. Or I could ask him what are his skills. What can he do?
So this priest can, if you give me time to put it in there, otherwise we'll just say it, or I'll copy and paste from the spell book. But he can bless you or items, and he can do divine sense. And while he does not have remove curse, I will homebrew this to a point where if he rolls high enough, then he can slow it down.
Can you the nature of the curse around us? I'm basically asking him can he find wherever it's emanating from on the land?
Yeah.
The spots you said something had happened recently.
That'd be
Did it
down in
happen
the.
in this room?
Well, the torches were snuffed down in here, but we heard the voice down in the sleeping lounge.
It's probably a better source of if it's the land that's cursed, then it would be more understandable if the downstairs area had more of an effect.
Then we should go over there. Should we head to there?
That sounds like a better idea than this location, at least to start with.
All right. And I start leading him the way.
Alrighty. So you guys make it to the bottom floor. Let me pull him into here. And all of you, apparently. Or you guys got you covered. I think I accidentally put... Nope, I did not. Oh, he's got it. Okay, good.
Wait, why is Dark Purse outside? Hold on.
I was just pulling him over from the side for Zam.
We ought to heard it down here.
So, Spiral, if you want to go ahead and roll a d20 to do that investigation check to see if you can't. Or maybe it would be religion. This is where it's going to be hard for me. Does anybody know what kind of roll that would be for him to investigate? What kind of curse?
It depends if the curse is magical
Religion
or
or
religious
history?
in nature. So it'd probably be Arcana or religion.
Religion or history, depending on the nature of the curse.
That too, yeah.
Okay.
It could be
I'll have
Arcana if
you-
he's on another plane of existence.
I'll have you roll 3 rolls then, just so we can see. So go ahead and roll the first one. It's going to be for religion. Goddamn. Okay, go ahead and roll another one for history. Okay, and then roll one more for Arcana. Cool.
That's about right for a priest.
Can I
More on the
assist
religion
the
side, that's
Arcana
fine.
roll with investigation and give him the health action?
On investigation?
Yeah, could I investigate some things around here and help him with the Arcana check?
Sure, go ahead and re-roll the Arcana.
And so you see, the stonework over here is mostly made of limestone, except for this one patch. We don't talk about this patch.
Ooh, that's funny. All right, so from what you can discern as far as the quote-unquote curse that they're talking about, it doesn't seem really that malicious. It really seems like it's a very minor curse that somebody placed here as a joke, but the fact that it's just been here for so long that it's grown past whoever put it on here as a practical joke towards Murgrim. And so that's why things seem to deteriorate a lot quicker than usual, because before it was just knocking out lights during shows, and that was it.
So it is magical, more so in nature?
I would say that maybe it started that way, but then either on its own or maybe somebody else had a hand in it, that it became more than just simply turning out some lights.
It's more powerful than it originally was.
Right.
Hmm.
It is it's exceeded its original intent.
It grew 2 levels, essentially.
Yes, but if you still remove the beginning point, the rest of the extra effects of this curse will still cease to exist. If it is tied to a specific region, I could possibly detect its source, but
Those rolls were to do what again?
Determine what the priest knows.
Determine what kind of curse you sensed from this quote unquote curse.
Ah, yes, it seems to be a trickster deity. Bit of a foul creature.
You're saying a minor god has decided to fuck with us?
Sorry, come again.
You're saying a
god.
minor god has decided to fuck with us?
Or some patron or
I wouldn't even call it a god. Nothing at that level. Where things would be the changes would be more drastic. Maybe people going missing or something of the sort.
I mean, the previous owner was just run over by a cart.
I don't
Yes,
think that was an
that
aspect
does
of
seem
the
it's
curse.
gotten stronger.
I don't know how to spell coincidence, but that spiral.
Did you send me something?
No, I said I don't know how to spell coincidence, but that.
Maybe I'm missing the point. I'm still in
Murder,
shock. And I'm a
Murgrim getting
priest.
run over outside the front of the building was simply a coincidence. It was not tied to the
Oh
curse.
yeah,
The curse
yeah.
is not
That's
violent
what
in
he said.
nature.
He said it's just bad luck. Maybe I was too quiet. Nothing.
Alright, so as you've made me understand this, we have some incredibly powerful entity that played a joke on the previous owner, and now we have to kill them to stop it.
To kill what? Just
The caster of this incantatious sorceress cockterville.
I mean, that may be one way to stop it, but it's just like I mentioned before. I could just send word and have someone be over here maybe a few days to solve this problem. I don't think they would charge much of maybe only a couple of gold to cover the travel.
You understand that I'm not necessarily adverse to the cost, but you make this sound a lot less dangerous than this appears. If this thing, magic nonsense, is growing in strength, power, or some such, if it's done something to make itself more dangerous, then doesn't that honestly do something more for whoever you're sending for?
Possibly. Oh, I broke again.
As we've previously established, there's only one thing I can hit with my hammer in this scenario, and that is the caster of this incantation.
Well, do you have any idea who the caster might be?
No, but we can find them.
I don't think that'll be necessary. Not now, anyway.
I mean, we can do it later for sport.
I can do what I can to perhaps keep it at bay a little bit, or just push it back a little bit. But I think after that, I shall just send word for someone who can just remove the curse altogether, so you no longer have to deal with this nuisance.
So it is just
Nothing
a
else.
nuisance, and we don't have to be overly concerned. We're in no danger.
Yes, it definitely seems in the lines of a prank, possibly from a rival business. Or I don't just believe Murgrim have any rivals, none that I can remember, but who knows? Could be anything.
Priest, I am not adverse, again, to you sending for help in this matter. I'm very appreciated.
Hold on just a moment here. I think
what?
I have something.
Anyway, they're doing that thing. So as I was saying, I appreciate what you're trying to do for us, and I'll allow you to do it. However, I think you're very making light of something that's actually making itself more powerful over time.
Well, I wasn't
Supposedly.
worried too much about it. Has it done you any physical or mental harm?
I was run over by a cart.
Why were you standing in the street?
I was standing next to Morgrim, as was Tallwife.
All right.
Aye, Tallwife.
All right. Town life. I don't understand what's
She is tall, and she is wife material.
tall. I get it, but I don't.
Not important. Anyway, I am just saying that in the
Does
event
anyone have
that this
digging tools?
Say what?
Does anyone have digging tools?
I have a chisel.
Can that go through stone floor?
I'm a mason.
I don't know how that answers the question.
Be right back. I'm going to go hit something.
Yeah.
You don't find anything that seems to stand out to you, Charles.
Damn hypnotic carpet patterns. Like, what the fuck?
Are you going to go and inspect the floor too, Rochard?
What are you looking for, bullshit manga?
I guess guidance on Rochard, as he does.
What is this? What are you doing?
I've detected a source of magic coming right here on the floor. Right underneath where this bed is.
In the floor.
Are you helping Charles? Are you helping him?
Yeah, I'm helping him, but I don't know how much that's gonna help.
Wait, if you're
He
helping me, that gives me
doesn't
Oh, yeah,
advantage,
yeah,
doesn't
that's
it?
advantage. Okay, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
With a +4.
Are you just
Possible.
inspecting, or are you like smacking your hammer in the floor?
Both.
That's
Roll
how he
one
investigates things. He smacks.
Charles,
them.
are you down on the ground looking?
7.
I was, but I was kind of taking a step back, looking at the bed for a moment, just in case it was like maybe there's like a hidden like message on the bed or something like that. But
So nobody's hands are currently on the floor in that area.
I hit it with my maul.
luckily, no one's hands are on the floor in that area. I don't think.
Okay, so nobody's going to need to roll to avoid him smacking your finger. You have successfully broken the rubble under the carpet. Not immensely, it's chipped a little bit. And if anybody steps there barefoot, they can feel the rubble under it. But other than that, Charles, you still see that the ping that you're getting is in that spot, and you guys so far have not found anything as to what's causing it.
This is the floor below the lounge, right?
Yeah, you're in the bed, quote unquote, chambers until you guys change it and do whatever you want with it. Below the top floor, and I can't remember if anybody was in this room or not.
Oh yeah, tall wife.
I think
Was
Tallwife's
she
in
in
this room.
I thought she was in this one. Yeah,
Somebody was
I think
in
I
this one.
deleted her from here. And then you were here, Rotrin was over here, the cat was here, Max was here, and Jewel was here.
Maybe I'm going crazy. But
Yeah,
so,
there were like 3 beds that were extra.
based on like the height of that bridge that comes across, would it seem like there'd be room for a floor underneath this one?
It, based on the height, if you look on it from the outside, it does not appear that there is a lower level other than this. So
So if there is one,
likely,
it's a basement or something.
possibly, yeah. Rotrin, roll a history check for me since you work with masonry.
Me? Okay, hold on. Let me just... this is at +3 because of stone cutting, as you said.
D20 plus your perfect. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Woo!
Damn.
That one!
Offer you absolutely 0 insight into. Wait, does he still get the D4? It wouldn't matter. It was a nat one. He can offer you absolutely no insight as to.
The fuck I can't. Hold on. I got this. This is an elven burial grounds. Fucking elves! My character starts hammering the ground.
I just take out my short sword and start cutting the carpet.
Ruin! Fucking!
While he's
Everything.
smashing the floor.
I
My
think
character
you
is in
Charles
fact going
just
at the
gonna
floor with
squeeze
the
out
maul.
room here real quick.
remove the carpet first, then
Be
look
some deck saves going on right now.
Right, but are you cutting the carpet while he's angrily smashing the floor?
10 feet from him.
Alright, so
Okay.
that's a deck save?
No, he moved. Before you started smashing, he realized that his hands were in danger. Go ahead and how many times did you fake hit? Was it 3?
Yeah, sure, I'll say I hit it 3 times. Do you want me to roll for attacks or just damage?
Yeah, roll for attacks. Let's see how well you hit the floor.
Or if you get a 1.
In the same spot at that.
Alright,
so that one
I'll roll all 3 right now.
Yeah. That one will definitely hit. That one will super hit. Okay, go ahead and roll your damage.
Alright, for the 16.
Alright.
Or the 22.
Okay.
How do you do your crit? Double
And
damage?
for the maul. And that's
I
the crit
think-
damage.
I think
Okay.
it's just double the number that the damage is.
So with the last hit that you swing down, you hit it just right in the middle to where the stone underneath splits in like several different pieces, and you've managed to pierce the carpet in that same spot with one of those pieces during the smacking of the floor. But the brick or the stone underneath of that one spot is completely destroyed and could easily be taken apart by hands if you get the carpet open more.
I'm going to go. Dark Purse is going to go outside and see if there's evidence of any kind of entrance outside. Did you want me to do a perception check? I'm just saying exactly what Ari said.
Guidance.
Guide.
Yeah, he's just saying that when you roll, it'll be a 1d4. Yeah, go ahead, go outside. You can't see it, but there's a door underneath these stairs. That works too. And then just roll a perception check. That's plus a 1d4.
Items and bless stack.
I don't know.
Can you what?
He asked
That's a
guidance
high
and bless back.
perception. Jesus.
Some cat eyes. Goddamn. You do not see that there is any kind of entrance that leads to any other portion of this building other than back inside the first floor.
Excuse
Bless is for attack rolls and saving throws. Not ability checks. No, I just checked.
What?
Bless. It helps attack rolls and saving throws. Not ability checks.
That's
I
what
was gonna.
guidance is for.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Well, I mean, I went to get some water. I looked around outside. It looks pretty solid. I don't think there's another entrance from outside.
Damn, I was hoping.
I get my short sword to start breaking the carpet where Woodman just get banging with his hammer.
All right, simple enough. He punctured a hole for you. So what you guys see is the crumpled stone that Rotrin is just broken through out of sheer will because he couldn't think on his feet right then and there.
What do you mean I couldn't think on my feet? It's obviously an elven burial ground.
I'm guessing
Can't tolerate any of that dagger
the
nonsense
bed
in
is
my
against
house.
the wall. The bed is against the wall or something.
Yeah, we can say that you guys moved it against the wall.
Can I check for traps?
Yeah, go ahead and what is it, investigation?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll investigation. There's no traps. You're pretty confident.
I guess you should start digging this out.
Alright, grab the shovel.
And,
Fucking
someone
elves.
already used
Did you guys
something
get a
that
shovel?
could-
Do we not have a shovel?
Charles has a shovel in his stuff, so he just.
Oh, if you've got a shovel in your inventory, then never mind. I thought you were like going back upstairs into the storeroom to go, or into the kitchen to get a shovel.
If I had to resort to it, I'd go into my room and I'd grab my halberd.
Oh, gotcha.
You said you were
This will
looking
take
for a
the wall
shovel,
out.
Watchman?
Aye.
Here's one from my old adventuring gear.
Ooh,
How does
nice.
the ground look like around the stone? Is it like just dirt underneath the stone, or is it just more stone further down?
No, it's dirt, very heavily compacted dirt because they got to flatten the ground before they build on it, and then there's been quite a bit of weight sitting on the dirt for a very long time. So it's pretty compacted, but it's just dirt.
Looks like something might be buried here. Is this the exact spot you sent Charles?
Exact spot right there where there's now a hole.
2 kids gonna die tonight.
Okay. Let's get digging.
I'm already digging.
How fast? Can
Go ahead and Sparrow, what would it be? Would they roll anything to dig, or did they just dig it?
Digging is pretty much just a time-consuming task where you can just say 10 or 15 minutes go by.
Okay.
If there's no real challenge in the dirt for them to dig past, like boulders or anything.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So you dig, the 20, 30 minutes pass. You end up having to lift up some of the other rocks, which is much easier now that you've gotten the one gone. It is much easier to use the shovel, pry it between the dirt and the stone, and just pry them up to move them out of the way, just so you have more room to continue digging in the same spot. But you eventually happen upon a small chest that is sitting in this hole that you've dug. So once you get to it, you just hear the shovel go from the to or that.
That works.
Ha! I told you! I told you, Maxwell! Look! I pull
You
up the
gonna touch
box. Elf bones!
More
Maxwell just
likely,
stares at him
the
as
source
he
of our
grabs it.
curse.
Does anything
Wait,
happen?
wait, should we check that for traps? Do you think?
I'm worried
Maybe it's cursed. It is there is it could be cursed.
I'm with
Does
Catman on this
Charles-
one.
Oh, sorry.
Is anything happening to him as he touches the box? Touches the chest?
Knock on wood.
So first, just to make sure, Zam, are you rolling to check for traps?
Yes.
And then Max, are you touching the chest before she's finished looking at traps?
I'm examining Roger to see if anything's happening to him as he touches the box. So perception, medicine.
Oh,
and-
Rotrin's the one touching it. Okay. So Spiral, since this is all you're doing, the curse is in your hands now.
Okay. Who was the first one to touch the box?
Rotrin.
Gotcha.
Alright, cool. Just need a well as you touch it, you kind of see like a little light. It's like tiny little runes right under where your finger pressed. And something just kind of you feel a weird sensation go through your finger and make a constitution save DC of 12.
Is this against poison?
No.
Okay. We.
You are so lucky.
It has no effect. But you know that touching it does something.
All
You
right.
guys do.
As the runes light up and attempt to do some heinous thing with my body as they try to eat through my gauntlets and gloves, like spook magic, damn elves, and I throw it in this direction.
Which is this direction? At somebody? Oh, across the room.
Well, that confirms that's the source of the magic I detected.
Does
Yeah, it just hits the wall.
does the chest look locked?
Has anyone tried to open it?
Nope.
Do I see a lock on it?
Dark
There
Purse
is a-
did inspect it for traps, though, and rolled a 19.
Catman, what do your feline eyes see?
You probably tell that it's not a normal lock.
Did you see the runes that lit up? Can anybody read those?
Are they in a particular language?
Are they? Yeah, are they med? Can we do an Arcana check to see if those are magical runes or are they just regular stuff? Because if they're just a language, Charles has another solution. But if it's a magical rune, then he does not.
You don't see any writings on the outside. It's just when Ratcham went to touch it, the space under his finger started glowing ever so slightly.
Oh, okay.
But you guys can roll. Who in here is anyone magical? Who's a caster?
Charles.
You can roll an Arcana check.
I have magic initiate, but I'm not a caster, really.
But anyone who feels like rolling Arcana can go for it. It's a low DC.
Guidance. Oh my god.
I will
never
give
seen
Charles
shit like
advantage
this.
with the help action.
That'd be
Sure.
greatly appreciated. Do it again. Fuck.
It's better than my
1d4?
-1.
Your stomach starts to growl, and it's really hard for you to focus.
Could get a 10.
Maybe I should start working on lunch while we figure this out.
It's just left the box. The box is just there still.
You can roll 1d4.
Oh, you get.
Yeah,
Guidance,
casting
yeah.
guidance on you.
Oh, okay.
Rotrin
well,
hovers, standing on the bed with the maul poised to strike at the box menacingly.
so a total of 10 for the Arcana then. With that
Okay.
guidance.
That's what you needed.
Okay.
You can pretty much tell that there was an enchantment put on this to try and blind whoever touched it. But there was only one enchantment. The box looks kind of dull at this point.
It only
But it
worked
is.
once for the first time someone touches it.
Yeah, you pretty much assume that this was a one-time use to the first person who tried to touch the box.
You're lucky, Rotrin. That would have blinded you if you weren't such a tough bastard.
Dark Purse is going to try and pick the lock and rolled an 8.
This is why you never trust elves.
No. You hear the tumblers move a little bit, but then there's a click and it just won't budge.
Little lock jam.
Nope, it just didn't work.
There's always a secondary solution. You just undo the hinges at the back of the chest.
Can you do that?
Certainly try. It is a chest.
Didn't you say this thing was trying to blind you?
It only had charge for one cast, so luckily if you touch it again, it shouldn't do anything else.
Really? Huh. Dagger is trustworthy, but never known them not to be so thorough. Let me give it a shot. My character will try and pry his fingers into a seam and then try to split the box in half.
All right, make
exactly
a
what
strength
I
check.
was going for.
Guidance.
All right, strength or athletics?
That'd be a strength. That's just brute strength trying
All
to
right.
open this thing.
Anybody got a crowbar? Oh my god!
Strength save.
Who's
Oh,
right
wait,
next
that's
to
the
you?
strength save. My bad. That is a 16. Just flat strength.
Athletics.
I mean, you can just roll them.
No, he's taken away the +5. He's saying that he rolled a 16.
He doesn't have any plus to his.
Oh, yeah, I've +3, so that's like 19.
That's
Plus
plenty.
you got that D4 from guidance.
Oh, I have a D4 from
Yeah.
guidance.
He just rips
No,
it.
you're good. You've already shattered the box.
Into billions of pieces
And there
at
it
this
is.
point.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Max right next to you. Just go ahead and make a dex saving throw.
I am not good at that.
Dodge.
Decent.
Okay, you dodged the old sharp pieces of wood that was just flung in your direction. Just goes right over your head. That you rip the box apart, and then you kind of just hear something hit the floor, and you look down, and it seems to be a scroll case.
Turns out it was a mimic and you just ripped it in half like a fucking clam.
Charles, can you grab the scroll with your mage hand?
Yeah, I've got you. Bold of you to assume I have that, but yes, I'll go ahead
I
and do that.
assumed nothing. I just assumed you were a
Really?
good bullshitter.
You've already told us about it.
Did
did?
I?
Yes.
I don't feel like I did. I definitely told about the magic fingers and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. You were
That's
right.
what I assumed it was.
I remember Wet Wife talking about him casting finger bang, something like that.
What?
I don't know, something about you
Oh,
cleaning
yeah.
sheets.
I remember that conversation now.
But anyways, the Charles will scroll over and pick it up with Mage Hand and kind of use it to slightly like unfurl it so it's easier to read without actually having to touch it.
Alright.
Let me just leap over the hole. Well, priest, I
Did
still
you
don't
just-
know what you're doing here,
did
but you have just been privy to an excavation by only the finest dwarven artisans. Enjoy this revelous
Thanks for the help.
contribution to society as I go and get myself a drink because of this elven cock drivel. I'll see you later.
Why does he keep saying Elvin?
Here's the thing against elves, don't worry about it. It's that old dwarven elven feud. It's ancient history, quite literally.
I think I might have missed something.
Oh, he was basically just saying that.
I rolled a nat 1 on my history check, so I was like, okay, what would my dwarf character, who's an idiot with like 9 intelligence, think? It was like, fucking elves. Fuck the elves. They're
Did
responsible
someone
for this.
pick up the scroll case?
What?
Did someone pick up the scroll case?
Yeah,
with
with
Mage
Mage Hand, yeah, and they unraveled it, and then when he did that, he walked off and was like, "All right, priest, we're done here," and kept going.
You said screaming about
I broke the
elves.
case in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the parchment in front of you with Mage Hand.
Yes.
So you unfurl it with the one hand, like it's just unrolling a plant. It's pretty cool. And there's nothing you see on the paper. The paper is blank.
Can you take magic from this?
Yeah, we can go ahead and. Actually, is detect magic a duration spell?
It lasts for 10 minutes, but we
10
were
minutes?
digging for 30.
It took 20 minutes.
It takes
to
10
dig,
minutes
so-
to cast, I think.
You can
No,
cast
it's
it as an
one
action
action.
if you spend a slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ritual.
But no, the reason why I was asking was how long it took because it took us 20 minutes to dig. So the spell would have worn off by now, so I'd have to cast it again. But he can, just to confirm. I mean, it's obviously probably coming from it, but better safe than sorry at this point. So he'll go ahead and cast Detect Magic one more time to confirm that this is in fact a magic item.
Is indeed a magic piece of parchment. That spell tells you pretty much what type of magic it is, right? Or
Actually,
is
that
that
is a good
identify?
question.
I think that's identify.
To see a faint aura around any.
School of Magic. if any.
Yeah, I learned it's School of Magic, if any.
Hold for talent.
Got to figure out what curse is what kind of what's it called.
Yep.
You know what? We'll make this easy. You get a sense that there's something on the page that you can't see it.
What are some common? Could I do a history check for common ways to like invisible ink shit? I guess.
Yeah.
Would that be like history? I'm assuming.
History or a straight intelligence roll.
We're gonna go for We're not gonna go with intelligence. We are gonna go with
You already said it. You already said it.
Guidance.
No. We're going to history. Actually, I think it's
He's-
the same bonus either way.
He's on top of these guidance, man. Always before the roll.
Mhm.
Oh, and guidance. Okay. 19 total.
You can remember from the ether of thoughts that it's pretty much a magical version of a really old trick of maybe a certain temperature will reveal what's on the paper. It's to be one of
Well-
those old tricks.
Well, we'll go up. Charles will pass that information along, thinking that that might be the case. And I'll tell you what, if we head up to the kitchen, we could heat up the stove. And I think I figured out. Or actually, you know what? I have prestidigitation. I can heat up and chill things. I can literally just do that with my hands. So he'll use then prestidigitation to first off heat up the paper to see if that causes anything to appear.
So it's being a magical flame against the paper. The paper
It is
kind of
not a magical
glows.
flame.
It is not.
No, it just heats up the object. It does not create a flame. It just literally changes the temperature.
All right, cool. So you heat up the page. You pretty much just see some really intricate, fancy runes around, like in a circle, like almost a really big stamp. And then, does anyone here read Goblin?
I don't, but I can make myself.
You can make yourself.
Time to cast comprehend languages.
Yeah.
You just burning all your spell spots.
Yeah, but this curse is kind of annoying me, so it's fine. We'll get it solved.
Is that concentration?
No, it is not. It's just a one action. But so he'll go ahead and cast comprehend languages. So for the next hour, understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear and understand any written language that you see. But you must be touching the surface on which the words are written. Okay, so he does have to touch the scroll in order to read it.
Bring it
But
to your
from-
hands from Mage Hand
Yes, sir.
and roll for nothing because nothing happens. But as you cast the comprehend language spells, you look at the paper, you see the intricate runes, and then the poorly drawn letters translates into all capital. Fuck you, Mergrum. Ha 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 ha.
Well, as I'll quote from this paper here, Fuck you, Mergrim. Ha 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 ha.
Signed? Anything?
Yeah, is it signed
That's
by
it.
anyone or no? No, it is not signed.
It's just the big fuck you in the center of the page, and then the intricate runes you see around there, and they do glisten in the light while it's still heated. But once you take it away, once it's not around heat for about 1 minute, then the page goes blank again.
But you do sense magic coming from this paper, right?
Yes, that was certainly a magical rune because if
You
it
can
wasn't a
you can
magical rune,
tell that uh, this page is cursing the land.
so if
been
we
removed.
took it off the land, it should be fine.
You wouldn't gather that from the text magic. It's more of like that's just the contract. It's kind of silly that they put it here. If they put it on the other side of the world, it'd be a little bit harder.
Well, we just need to get this uncursed or destroy it, or what should we do?
Do you
Go
know
ahead.
any goblins around that might know of, or that may have held a grudge against Mergrim?
Can't
Not to
say any
me,
of
I
us knew
couldn't
the
think of
fellow well
anything.
enough.
Bertrand returns with a serving platter, I guess, full of mugs of ale and 2 salmon cakes. Salmon cake, ale,
It wasn't elves, it was goblins.
salmon cake, ale. There you go. Told you it was elves.
It wasn't elves, it was goblins.
Elves, goblins, they're all daggers to me.
Do you suppose our friend at the bank might know of someone that might know of a goblin that held a grudge?
To be fair, it doesn't exactly matter to us as long as they don't come back and do it to us again.
I made him ask that girl we met at the brothel who used to work here.
Yeah, good point. She did seem intrigued on coming back to work here, so once we get up and open again, we could always ask.
No, ask her if she knows any goblin that may have been angered by the last owner. She was a performer, right? She must have at least known something if she was around.
Possibly. Maybe it was someone who used to work here.
Mergrin did seem like someone who just chatted a bunch. I like the priest, like you said.
They're talking to you, Spiral.
I'm sorry.
You're good. It's all good, man.
I'm like getting notes and trying to do that at the same time. I heard a little bit of the last thing said. I'm so sorry.
You have been handed an ale and a salmon cake.
A salmon cake?
Or whatever it was that Charles made last time.
Yeah. It was a salmon cake. That's what
Yeah.
Charles made.
One of these days, everybody's going to remember what the poor guy made, including himself.
Hey, I remembered.
There is a recording of you messing that up.
Only because everybody else messed it up.
He doesn't accept the ale unless you like threw it in his hands.
That's going in the book of grudges.
I do believe, gents, I could be on my way to send word for my acquaintance who could remove this curse.
I've not chained you to the floor. I've given you hospitality. You're free to go whenever.
Good day, everyone. Good day.
All right, have a good
You-
one. By the way, here's your bribe. My character hands him 3 coins.
My what? Excuse me?
Your bribe.
It's not a bribe. We're paying you for your service.
Bribe, payments, generous donation to the church, whatever he calls it.
I hand him 5 coins for handling this guy.
No, that's plenty. I shouldn't have accepted. It's quite all right. He's gonna like bow out backwards, and then like I don't have it on his character sheet, and it's not really gonna do much. But then he just cast bless on 3 of you. The 3 closest to him. He's like acting really like, I don't know, it just happened. Good day, good day, good day.
Spiral,
I help him.
Yes.
I help him, leading him out.
is the curse still active until they do something with the paper?
Yes.
Okay, keep as you were.
All right, let's try and burn
Good
this
day.
shit.
Oh wait, do you know you're a cleric or someone that has magic power of holy, right?
Oh,
Can you burn it with magic fire?
I got a
I
tinder
do-
box right here.
Magic
Oh,
fire.
I do not believe magical items of that nature. Definitely cursed ones can be destroyed by fire. Most means you would have to have the caster dispel it or dispel magic if you had the capability.
My character will whisper conspiratorially to Charles, "That sounds like quitter talk."
To be fair, most magical items do lose their magical capabilities when destroyed. A curse is just a negative magic effect. So by destroying the item, you realistically should remove the curse.
I wouldn't know. Should I hit it with my hammer?
It's a piece of paper.
Yes, exactly. So I'll just take it outside and we'll start a bonfire.
I'll get to use my Nintendo today. Yeah.
Just
You're gonna make
to
a
ensure-
bonfire with one piece of magical parchment?
I take a torch.
Well, to be fair, we should make sure we're using magical means to burn it. So, again,
Do we
don't
have
worry,
magical
I have
means?
that handled.
You. Interesting.
So we're going outside this piece of paper. We're going to get ready to burn it. And I have to use 2 sorcery points to create a new first level spell slot.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, Charles goes ahead and he kind of goes off to the side here, making sure there's like space for him to set down and not accidentally burn anything. And what he does, he kind of does this like gesture of his hands, mutters something, and the points of his 2 pinkies that come together and connect kind of do like a pilot light. And he basically breathes forth towards the paper, and this just jet of flame just lights up this piece of paper as he casts burning hands on it.
Is someone holding the paper?
No, he
Yeah.
set it down. No, I wouldn't use burning hands if somebody was holding the paper, because I would roast them and everyone near them, basically.
Just clarifying, you see that the paper kind of moves as if a strong wind is blowing at it, but it does not catch fire.
Charles will stare at it for a second and then pick it back up, coming back towards the group with it.
Like, not singed at all? Just like nothing happened to it?
The fire did not reach the parchment itself.
Wait, what?
It reached it. There was no effect.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, like, wait, did I just miss, or which would be kind of difficult given the flame, but
Put the paper down.
Charles will set it down on the ground, kind of watching it intently as we try to burn it with non-magical means.
Max takes his staff, and you see a small light go around it as he casts Shillelagh on it. And he just brings the stuff right down onto the paper as hard as he can.
All right. Roll for an attack.
Not good at all.
I mean, the swing looked good, and it connected, but it didn't really do much. It didn't change anything. The
Like, do I
kinda
feel like the staff hit something, or do I feel like all my power just went nowhere?
You probably could have. You've had better swings in your day, and you contacted with the paper. It just kind of suffered the blow, but took no damage from it.
I
They have
picked the
some kind
paper
of
up.
magical protection.
Yeah, I picked the paper up, and it's that the ground underneath But the paper was damaged at all. Is there a scuff mark?
Yes, you see a little. Yeah, you can see exactly where your staff made impact.
Okay, yeah. This paper is just.
Sorceress, elven, cock drivel. Here, give me that. Let me try.
We
My character's
cut
just
it in
going to try
half?
and ripping it.
Yeah.
You know what? Go for an attack.
An attack? Like an armed attack or just strength roll?
Just
Oh, he casted bless on us. That gives us what?
1d4
attack
attack rolls.
Yeah, 1d4 on attack rolls.
And saving throws.
Would have hit it with a 10 or something. 12. If not, I want to try to roll it.
no.
Hold for talent. Hold for talent.
I hear like someone disconnecting. Is someone backing up?
No.
No, I said, should I have rolled 1d4 for my attack against that paper?
No, for a non-magical weapon to hit this thing, you'd have to roll pretty high.
Well, it's a good thing that I have these
Yeah.
bulging muscles. What do you want for like me trying to rip this thing in half?
A strength check.
Strength
That's
check. All right.
definitely a brute strength thing.
Elvin, bullshit.
No, the paper goes taut, but there's no tear, and then eventually your fingers just kind of slide and then slip off the paper.
You reckon we can get Wet Wife to make this thing wet and less durable or something?
I assume the water would just slide off.
It has to have some kind of magical protection on it. That's the only explanation.
Well, unless you want me to hit it with my hammer, I'm out of ideas.
The priest did say he is sending for someone, but it would take a couple days, like 2 or 3 days, for that person to arrive.
Well, we have the source of the curse, at least. Perhaps we really should go and try and track down who created the curse, I suppose, because if their only intent was to mess with Murgren, now that he's, well, gone, I suppose it wouldn't be too much to ask, be like, hey, we've just purchased this theater, and seems you left behind a little bit of a prank for the previous owner, and we have found it. Would it be too
You
much to
think-
ask for you to remove it?
They live here?
Pretty good chance. I wouldn't imagine too many knowing Murgren, save for his family and a couple of friends outside of this town.
You want to hunt for elves at this hour?
Goblins.
It's still early in the morning, Rochin. I don't.
Exactly. That's what the brothel's for.
Oh my gosh.
Does he ignore me every time I say goblin?
Oh, absolutely. My character is absolutely dead set on believing that this is elven cock drivel. I have an intelligence of
chest might
9.
have
I'm rolling.
The chest might have. Who knows? The chest could have been actually created by an elf, but the scroll itself is goblin.
Let's just go.
All right. So,
Where
Where are you
we
guys
going?
going?
My character will put the scroll in his
Girl.
pack and just start going to the quarry.
What?
What?
Whoever's got the actual parchment, you can just put in your inventory cursed scroll.
Excellent.
Well, wait. Are we going to the quarry, or are we gonna go?
I'm going to the quarry.
I was prepared for you today.
So he just drag us all there because we have no idea what we're going here for.
I'm not your mother.
Well, you guys don't have to go. He's
I was-
going.
I was gonna go to the brothel to meet that
Well,
girl again. Question
yeah.
her.
Okay.
Charles will go with Rotrin, just because obviously, if he's planning on buying something, Charles might be able to talk down the price a bit.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so give me just a second here to edit some things. Do.
Where you going, Dark Purse?
Hold on, sorry.
You cut out.
I think she's telling Ari what's going on.
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to share this. Okay, I'll meet you over at the brothel, but I'm gonna stop by the bank first.
I'll wait for you outside of the bank.
Okay, so you're gonna go to the bank.
Yep.
You
But
can.
I'm gonna stop at the wharf first and get another fish for our friend, and go see Hoko.
Okay.
If we're going to brothel, I'll just follow you along until we go there.
Oh
Okay.
God, she about to do the professional voice actor thing and talk to two people.
And talk to herself. Yeah. All right.
I
So
don't know what
finish.
I'm talking to myself about, though. I mean, I do, but
I honestly think Ari's just messing with you at this point. So Charles and Rachan, you guys make it to the quarry. Before anybody starts to become alarmed, yes, this is blood. There are people here. We're going to pretend this horse is not here. I lied. No, we'll pretend the horse is there. We're going to pretend that the horse is exhausted and they overworked it. So the horse is dead. Things are being rebuilt because a recent rock slide kind of took out this building and a portion of this one. This one is still intact. You'll see that there is obviously some security measures that they've taken for whatever reason. And while there is blood splatter, it's not blood splatter in the suggestion of a fight or some kind of massacre. It's more just like, oh, the rock slide probably got a few people, including the horse. Actually, we're gonna say it's not overworked. We're gonna say the rock slide got the horse.
That's long
But
distance rock.
apart from that, they are still in business. There's a bunch of rock. And then if you go inside of these, there is the mine that they are currently getting it from as well. You can say what you're going to do. I don't have characters made for all of these yet. That is something I'm going to need time for.
Okay.
So as you're talking to people, I'll just say, this is who they are. This is what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. I will say that almost everybody here is a dwarf, though.
My people. My brand. Alright, if you want general hootenanny, then my character is going to inquire as to the purchase of limestone, marble, or whatever material they have to work with here, slate, sandstone, etc.
Gotcha. Okay. So the person that you're going to want to talk to is going to be I don't know what they're called. I would have to Google it, but maybe you know. But the person who's basically in charge of everybody.
Foreman?
Yes, he is going to be located up here, checking on the materials that are being brought out, inspecting them, and making sure that they are suitable for selling.
Alright, I will go and visit the foreman and ask after a price of what might be, I guess, an extension for the general place, as it were. Or for, generally making the bridge or upkeeping a section of the building.
Gotcha. Spiral, I know that you said that you're moving upstairs. Are you able to talk or no? I can't do male
Yeah.
voices. Oh, okay. So I only have a generic description at the moment because I don't have the character, but it's just going to be, it's a dwarf man who doesn't look very old, but he's not young. He has wrinkles, dirt all over him, looks well-rounded as far as skills go. He knows a lot about stone and business, things like that. So whatever question he just asked, that's going to be a you thing. When you said persuade, are you saying that he needs to roll persuasion?
I'm not persuading, I'm inquiring as to the price of what an extension might be. Or general upkeep and maintenance of sections of the building.
Right. Yeah, Spiral had sent me a message that said persuade, and I was confused. So he's just asking, like, the price and what kind of stones you have, Spiral. Did I lose you? Hello?
Oh,
Who? What?
Spiral.
Oh,
Stake.
I'm so sorry. I was muted.
Think about when there's so much stake.
Because of steak, what was the question?
All right.
Was,
Rotron's query was after the price or general prices that could be expected if he wanted to make an extension, maintain sections of the building, and what available stone types that he had.
we're gonna say he hands you a list with 3 different types and 3 different prices. One's definitely a low quality, like the average quality, and then there is a high quality material that is definitely worth some coin. But I will have to write that one.
Okay.
I got you. The basic rubble that is just basic stone, that you could literally go and smack a boulder for. For the kind of work that you're looking to do would probably run you about 750 gold. For the somewhat better material, we'll say limestone for what you're trying to do. Based on the conversations that we had earlier about the renovations to the building, we'll say would cost about 1,200. And then if you were wanting to, of course, he's going to try to upsell you, Spiral, for the obsidian stone, which would run you about 5,000.
Tempting.
tempting if we actually had anywhere close to the amount of cash needed for that.
Spiral, start talking about how the obsidian holds up well to fire and whatever else you can think of.
Of the obsidian stone we got here holds up real good to the elements. This is the one you want to be after.
Oh, I reckon it holds up to the element to your purse strings as well. So if a child breathes on it, it's going to break.
No, not the obsidian. No, that. Excuse me.
I'm gonna
Wait,
leave
what
you
did
to
you say?
your talk of stone. I'm not well versed.
Oh. I know nothing about stone. I'm gonna get schooled.
Check your DMs real quick.
Oh, you got the wrong guy for that one.
No, just say it. This is dwarf to dwarf.
I've
You're supposed
snipped
to
a few
say
manners.
that.
Oh. I'm so confused. Nope. I don't know. It's like that.
Hello?
I think I've become a powerful minstrel. I've killed him with words.
I'll go ahead and take it over. I can't do a male voice, so my
we can
apologies.
do just like
I can't.
generic exchange of information and potential one-liners, if that pleases you.
Yeah, that'll be great for me. Thank you. Spiral's apparently very tired, and it's hard for him to follow his stuff right now. So basically, the dwarf who I'll let you guys name, looks at you and starts trying to upsell the obsidian more to you. Mentions that while it does hold up against the elements quite well, it's also great back in the olden days to stand up against elven attacks as well. Seems to be a little bit more sturdy when it comes to any kind of magical attack also. But does mention kind of like in a sigh that, well, I guess limestone is good too, but the obsidian's definitely worth it.
Rotron will counter with, I'm certain that limestone and obsidian are definitely going to be good for your purse strings. After all, elves could never stand up to any nanny-be-pandy cock-drivel stonemason even made by humans, let alone the dwarf king. I could probably make away with half of what you'd want with the lower quality stone, and likely have a fortress that'll stand the test of time. That's it. You look like
He'll
you
laugh.
are...
He's gonna laugh and pat you on the back and walk over and sit with you.
That said, You seem to be in a bit of a... My character looks at the devastation wrought by the current unfortunate rock slide that has likely killed several of those miners. You look like you need the business, and I'm not in much of a position to spend a great deal of coin, so I'll tell you what. I'll take some of the much less quality stone off your hands. I'll work it myself into reasonable and effective passions, and you can get all of this nonsense away from all your workers so they don't have to look at any of the previous corpse makers of your workers in your workforce. I'll take it off your hands for 500 crowns.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
Can Charles assist to get double advantage?
No.
Yes, cast elven accuracy on me with advantage. Make me roll 3 times.
If Charles helps, it will be a normal roll because you are not dwarf.
No, it's persuasion now.
Yeah,
All right,
but it's two buddies right
plus
now.
0. Go!
With advantage, come on, talkie.
Any day now.
Maybe.
And
Why isn't this going through the tabletop?
skadoosh? No, I tried.
I rolled a 16 and a 17.
16 and a 17. Okay. He looks at you, gets a sly smile, says, I like the way you think, and then says, call it 750, and I agree.
That's
We're talking
the
about
original
the
price
obsidian,
you
right?
get.
Oh, you're talking about the limestone.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the lesser quality stone. That's
Oh,
the
like you get
previous
from a
price.
boulder?
Yeah, like all this nonsense.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Then in that case, yeah, my apologies. Thought you were trying to talk him down on the obsidian. Yeah, no, he'll definitely do it for the 200.
The obsidian. What the fuck?
Wait,
Whoa.
talking the obsidian down from 5,000 to 750? Jesus.
Yeah, he likes the dwarves, man.
Oh,
I mean, can
that's
we
so
take that
tempting.
deal?
That's so
Family
tempting that I'm
discount.
willing to spend almost more than half of Jules' money.
And he
Oh.
did also, like, he tried to upsell you, but that price was, like, he was trying to con you.
Technically, it's not
Well, that
Jules'
much
money,
was
it's
fair.
all of our money.
So what you're saying is willing to sell me the obsidian for 750 crowns.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you wanted the man I'd kiss you, I'll take it.
All right. So he's going to walk you over and go finish up some paperwork with you in regards to that. You'll hand over the coin to him, and he explains to you that over the... He's going to ask you, actually, are you needing somebody to assist with the building of this as well, or are you just looking to have this delivered and build it yourself?
I'm the stone mason in charge.
All right. So then he explains to you that because the stone quarry is quite far from the business, and because all the stone will be carried over via horse cart, that while multiple deliveries will happen throughout the next couple of days, it will take about 3 days to get everything to you that you need.
All right.
All right. With that being said, we're going to pop over to the bank real quick with... Where the frick did I put you guys? Over to the bank real quick. Where Max and Dark Pers are, who are looking to speak with Hoko, correct?
Yep.
Alrighty, so I am going to put you guys on Hoko. And, Mom, have fun talking to yourself.
So Dark Pers walks in and remembers that he's a pirate. Well, matey, how are you today? Look, I've brought you a fish. Wait, are you with your drippy friend? Stan, bring the mop. We might need the mop.
She's not here. She's not here.
Stan, never mind, Stan. What can I? What do you want? Well, matey, we've encountered a little problem with the as you know, there is a slight curse on the building at the theater. Yes, you told me that. we found a note buried in the ground, and it was written in goblin. Do you know of any angry goblins that may have held a grudge against Mergrim? Written it. Why do you say it was in goblin? What, are you accusing me of something? What?
No, our friend deciphered the message. It was in Goblin, and he used a spell to figure it out. It was in Goblin.
Well, I know no other goblins. I am unique to this area. I've met no other goblins. So maybe it wasn't a goblin. Maybe it was someone trying to set me up. I'm going to have to hunt that person down.
It said something with a sort of "fuck off, Mergin." So someone plainly incensed by the old owner.
Hoko, I have this fish for you. Maybe that might help you remember a little more. Something about, in the history even, about a goblin with a grudge.
Or someone who wrote in Chicken Scratch Goblin.
I told you it was elves.
Go ahead and roll a history check. So we'll pretend that was for Hoko, especially since she doesn't have any stats and neither does Dark Purse, as far as history goes. But as the you know that Mergrim was involved with another goblin somehow. You've never seen this goblin. Goldchild has sent people out to go and find said goblin, but nobody has ever come back with information about them. However, there is a chance that somebody, if they were able to locate somebody that worked with Mergrim at some point, that they would also be able to maybe give more insight about it. But as far as Goldchild's investigations, even questioning the people that worked for Mergrim under duress of threat and harm, they never gave up any information in regards to goblins other than you.
Yes. We did do an investigation, you see, because goblins, we're good sort, you know, and we did look for another goblin, and I think we were being framed. But we did look. We did ask the questions, and there was nothing. Nobody knew anything about a goblin, so I think you're barking up the wrong tree. I think you need to go. But give me the fish. I want the fish. And so, with that,
You mean
Dark Purse turns and says, "Maybe we should go to the brothel."
my first guess. I was going to ask Coco Harris to be sure they questioned everyone. Was there someone you couldn't find? Someone missing? Someone who left the city? Did you question everyone?
We questioned everybody that we were in contact with. We looked everywhere and found no evidence. Nothing at all. So I'm not sure what the source of your goblin hating note is.
People
Sorry?
you couldn't find? The people you couldn't find. Names?
Well,
because your investigation on who this goblin that Mergrim was involved with led to dead ends everywhere, you don't have any information about the name, what the goblin looks like, how old they are, the gender, where they're at, anything.
Yeah, I mean, anyone she could have questioned that wasn't present when they did the questioning. Do they know who they're missing from that?
Oh no, when they did their questioning, it was still when everybody worked at the theater, so everybody that knew Mergrim was questioned while they were in town.
I see. Thank you for your time. And I just walk out.
and I guess we head over to the brothel, to the Minx.
All right, over to the Minx we go. Um, Charles and Rotrin, are you guys staying over at the quarry?
I'd imagine the dealings would take a bit, if not the trip.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless Charles wants to meander off and limp his way into the brothel. I'm not his mother.
Gotcha. Alrighty, Dark Prayer's got you on there. Alrighty, so you guys enter the brothel. It's still basically like just a little bit after 1, so Akirk is still behind the bar, but Krimu is now sitting at the bar speaking with Akirk, sorry, instead of in her bedchamber where she was previously when you guys first met her.
What's your name again? I keep forgetting.
Krimu.
Kramer. Is she busy talking to them, or how busy is this place?
This time, because it is midday, it's pretty dead. A lot of the girls that were there in the morning time have either gone out to do whatever errands that they had to do, or are showering for the day, or not showering, but bathing for the day, and just getting prepared for any extra shifts at the brothel that they may have, or whatever plans that they have. But right now it's pretty dead. This place is more booming at night.
Curse my absolutely terrible short-term memory. What was her name again? My short-term memory is garbage.
Are you talking about the flute girl?
Her name. Yeah. My short-term memory is garbage. I instantly forgot it.
It's Kurimu Hashi.
Kurimu Hashi. I'm going to write that down in a second.
She sees you enter, and she's just going to look over and be like, "Oh, you're back."
Yes, unfortunately, we're at a stuck end. We're investigating that curse affecting our place, and we found something odd in the lounge. Underneath the lounge, where all the bed stays are at, we had to dig underneath one of the bed chambers, and we found a chest with a particular note inside. And on it, we saw a handwritten letter, magical, written in Goblin, and it candidly said, "Fuck you, margarine. Ha 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 ha." Maybe with an extra ha.
Oh my. You said it was
And
written in Goblin?
can I run an insight check to see if she's actually surprised?
Yeah, go ahead. She does seem a little bit surprised, but not as surprised as you would have probably expected.
So, since we know if you worked there before, we came here to ask you, have you seen any kind of goblin presence within the place? Any sort of goblin working with margarine, particularly angry, maybe with poor handwriting?
Well, I know Mergrim's not, with us anymore, so I guess it's okay to talk about it a little bit. None of us ever actually saw the goblin, but he did speak quite often of a goblin that he would go and meet on certain days. And at one point, before things started getting really weird, he was gone at night a lot. I remember one time I was out on the balcony looking up at the stars when I heard the doors close from outside. And I watched and I saw Mergrim going to the boat that he had in the canal. And he took the boat and, ventured through the canal with it and would be gone for hours. But I never followed him when he was in the boat, and I never saw the goblin, but we all knew that he had mentioned one. It's really hard to determine if there was ever a goblin when we didn't see one, and it was just a really old man talking constantly about one. And for all we know, it could have been a misshapen bush at his age.
Is she being another insight check to see if she's being honest with that joke? If she actually believes that, or if she's trying to divert our attention.
Go ahead and roll an insight. The joke that she made seems to be more along the lines of trying to make humor in a awkward situation. But everything else that she's told you seems incredibly genuine. They know about a goblin, but they've never seen one.
Thank you.
Of course.
Max X. We were just talking to one of those at the bank. They said they made an investigation and that no one ever mentioned a goblin. Why are you foretelling now?
So, you've spoken with Hoko Azia. See how lovely she is to deal with. She's also quite forgetful sometimes, though. It's quite strange, though I guess expected at how old she is. It's true, Gold Child and Magic Full of Stars and Active Flame, they all, including Beetle, ran a investigation on the reports of a goblin that nobody seemed to know about. But everybody that worked for Murgrim was very loyal to him. And it sounds like you're new around here, but the bank basically runs this place. And not always with good intent. To mention that another person existed who was trying to fly under the radar could have possibly led to unfortunate circumstances for Murgrim, ourselves, and the goblin if they do truly exist and they found them.
Maxwell nods. That's a powerful loyalty to have no one speak of this goblin. Perhaps honorable. Thank
There
you
are a
for
lot of people here that try to hide from Goldchild's eyes. Not many succeed at that. So the fact that this one person has managed to succeed that.
respectable. Respectable, I say.
She'll kind of give a little smirk and look back down at her hands that are in her lap.
I glance at this stewardess. Is she even just listening on to us?
Yeah, Kirk and Krimu are like best buddies. So she's just there on the counter with her hand in her with her cheek in her hand, just looking at the both of you.
Does she seem particularly just casual, or does she seem interested in what we're talking about?
She seems a little interested in what you guys are talking about, but with her being a citizen as well, she's not speaking up, mostly because, one, she's not the kind to interrupt a conversation if she can help it, but two, because she's also well aware of how the city is run.
Thank you for telling us. This could make things way easier. Way easier. So, if we find him, I don't think we'll harm him if he undoes the curse. It seemed like it grew way out of its original bounds. So if he can undo it for us, simple, we might just leave him alone. But if he doesn't, the insinuation is open in the air.
Gotcha. She'll look a little saddened at the trail off of if he doesn't part. But she is going to inquire. Go ahead.
Seeing that he does speak up, I don't want to bring any harm to the people in this town, but he is causing problems for all of us, and we are trying to make a living here. I hope it does not come to blows. And I stand up from my chair, and I hand her 3 gold. Thank you.
She'll just kind of like look at the gold in her hand and then look back up at you. Close her hand and go, were you guys serious about me coming back to the theater?
Absolutely.
Would it be too forward if I were to go back with you now? And she'll kind of look back at the empty space, and then you see her kind of look outside to determine, how long it's going to be before this place gets bustling again and before she has to start doing what she does here
I read
tonight.
that easily.
With an insight
Oh,
of
yeah.
22, yeah.
Yeah. If it's fine with my friend, I look at Dark Paws. Wait, are they even inside?
You are. Dark Paws never went in, apparently.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe she did.
I look
She was
towards
there
Dark
the whole
Paws.
time.
I look towards Dark Paws. I'm fine with it.
Dark Paws nods.
Then, yes.
She smiles very sheepishly and goes, "Great, let me go get my things." And she kind of like runs off excitedly, which is the most emotion that you've seen on this poor little girl Shy's face. And she runs into the room, and if you guys are going to wait around, it takes her about 5 or 10 minutes for her to grab what little belongings that she has, and she runs back out. And again, still with a smile on her face, but still very shyly says, "I'm ready when you are."
So let's head off.
Alrighty, so you guys are on your way back. What are your guys' name? Charles and Rotrin. Are you guys still at the quarry, or are you going back to the theater as well?
I think we'd be done with the paperwork by now, right?
I'd imagine.
Yeah, so we'd probably be heading back. Since obviously that's kind of our meetup point for when we've gotten our little tasks done.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so everybody is on their way back. Feel free to have conversation amongst yourselves. You can even say you ran into each other at a crossroad or something while I get everything set up on that map real quick.
How far is the brothel from the theater?
The brothel from the theater, let me look at this real quick and then my notes. The brothel is located at number 18, which was, I just realized there's two 18s. It's basically a straight shot. Let me pull you over here real quick. It's basically a straight shot. The theater is here, and then the brothel is here, and the quarry is over here. So essentially, almost right here is where you guys would end up meeting up, unless they were going to the brothel after, and then you guys could meet up over here.
No, I'm pretty sure we'd probably be heading straight back to the theater.
Yeah, you guys are right here as we get to the theater.
Yeah.
But Charles would be just speaking with Rotrin about what to make for lunch, since obviously he doesn't want to make salmon cakes again. But their choice.
We could pick up some sandwiches.
Limited. I could stop and just grab some ingredients for cooking something different along the way to the theater.
That does remind me. Whatever. As we head back, I do say we should plan to go to the market, because we did plan to find people to properly clean everything up. I tell it to Dark Plus. Dark. Freaking heck.
Alrighty. So you guys arrive basically back at the entrance of the theater at about the same time. And as you guys get there, you're greeted by, let me bring his photo over here real quick for you. 1 second. Here. Nope, not there. Here. There we go. You're greeted by a man that is hunched over, dressed in all black, with a bunch of packs that look like they're filled with a bunch of random things on his back. I've posted the picture in the business management chat just so you have a better image than his token. He is waiting at the essentially bridge portion of the front doors as you all are walking up to it. And as you approach him, you cannot see his eyes underneath of his hood, but you can see that he seems to have a sly smile as because you can only see from about the tip of his nose down. And then that's what we'll go ahead and we'll end today.
It's that guy from Resident Evil who just sells you random shit and then gets mad when you shoot him.
Running now?
I'm telling you, Charles. God, this sandwich sucks. Oh,
Yeah, I want to give Jewel a chance to be here for this guy.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's way fair.
Good. I think
and,
the main things we got done today, anyways, were good side pieces, side quests, one might say.
well, in that case, can we do a personal scene with me and Charles as we're basically like coming back from the market after having get a sandwich?
Yes.
I'm telling you, Charles. God, these sandwiches suck. Oh,
Should gone.
Maxwell doesn't have any vision.
All right.
he thinks it's goblins. I'm telling you, it's elves. This is the exact kind of thing that elves would do. Blame the goblins for everything.
Well, as far as I'm aware, that chest could have been elven in design. They have a thing for messing with your mind, and I'm pretty sure that's what the blinding enchantment on it would have done, was mess with your head a little bit, make it so that you think you can't see, but in actuality you still can.
You know what? Go
That
ahead and
note is clearly.
roll a history check for me real quick so that we can see if you would be able to determine what kind of material or region this might have been made from.
Oh no, Charles doesn't actually care what region it's coming
Oh.
from. He's just trying to go along with Rotrin's antics enough so that he gets through to him that, yeah, sure, like, maybe the chest is elven, but the paper was written in Goblin, so, yeah.
Of
Gotcha.
course it's written in Goblin. You know what kind of weird, incestuous shit that all those elves get up to? This is probably one of the kind of trickery. What the? My sandwich!
Did your sandwich just scream at you?
A bloody bird just took my sandwich! That's going in the book, you fucking avian!
To be fair,
And I'm done.
should have spent more time eating rather than speaking.
Stow it! And I'm good.
His grudge book.
I already stowed it in my mouth. My sandwich.
Dark Purrs and Max, do you guys want to have a conversation between each other on your way back before we end tonight?
I would just be asking Karimu?
Karimu, yeah.
Yes. About what would she do at the theater? What she did before, like precisely. Your exact talents.
Mostly when shows were being played at the time, I was the person who played the ambiance music essentially for really important scenes. But when the VIP section was open after the shows, I mostly either sat there and played the music for everybody to relax to. And when other people were doing things in there, I would help out with delivering drinks and food from the kitchen to the guests.
Max. That's the position I was hoping you could fill. I'm feeling that place is going to need some ambience. Something to keep everyone tied over. That's why I asked you for songs last time I talked to you. If you knew any songs.
She'll look at you and kind of smile and kind of hug her flute to her chest and just go, I'll be more than happy to play one for you later.
Thank you. For sure, everyone will help listen to that too. And I'll be managing security around the theater and the VIP room. So if anything were bad to happen, go to me, or if we hire anyone, go to them in particular. There will be more hired hands around here eventually.
I look forward to seeing this place up and running again.
Max nods, and that's his conversation.
Dark Purse, anything from you at all to anybody?
I'm not sure what to ask. Sorry.
That's okay. If you don't want to say anything, you can walk in silence. I can see a cat being lost in thought.
I see you and Maxwell are getting along perfectly.
Ah!
Alrighty. So I'm going to drag you guys back over to the start screen there. And hopefully the next time we do this, I will have some more maps personally made. I'm going to be redoing everything that was stolen from the internet, like the city map, the quarry, the port, things like that. Those are all going to be redone, but so that they're personalized. And then I got to make a couple more NPCs to fill a bunch of squares. If there's anything else that you guys think that you might go to in a more near future instead of the in-betweens like I had thought it was going to be, please post it so I could get that made and get NPCs for it beforehand so that this isn't such a train wreck.
What do you think?
This wasn't a train wreck. You didn't have any time to work on anything.
Yeah, nah, you. What's the same I'm looking for? Rolled with the punches? That what I was thinking of?
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that it's working out, even though I don't have everything made for you guys, which is fine. I'm thoroughly loving the fact that you guys love this enough to not have the time to edit things and that it's all kind of been on the fly. And I thank Spoon greatly for recording these because it allows me to, at some point in time, go back and be like, oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Now,
Yes, the best notes of known to man videos.
Yep.
I was gonna say. Now the thing is, had there been a particular devil's lettuce enthusiast here, I feel like things would have not gone so smooth. But that is just me.
Don't worry, she would have turned the scroll into a brew and we would have all died.
Sorry about that. My freaking PC just fucking crashed.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
That'll happen.
That's why I was asking. Do we have a set schedule for the campaign? Like Saturday, Thursday, Friday?
Not usually a set schedule. It's supposed to originally be on Thursdays in between other people's one-shots. If Spiral has his one-shot ready and prepared by Thursday and wants to do that, that's what I think he was going to do. But he
I'm
didn't
just
have
waiting for
internet at the
internet.
time. Yeah, so if he's got internet by the time Thursday rolls around, we might shoot for his. That way I've got time to actually write something for this. But if not, then I will do my absolute best to write something the day before after I get off work. But basically I work Saturday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. And then with the medication that I'm on for my ear infection and everything, I'm basically beat, which is why I took a nap from 5:30 to 8.
Yeah. Understandable. I got it.
But other than that, I'll keep everybody posted in if Spiral gets word earlier on when he's actually going to have internet. Like if he knows for sure if he's going to have internet by Thursday or not, then I'll let everybody know. But if he doesn't, and if nobody else says that they want to run their one shot on Thursday, then we'll just shoot for Thursday at, I think for Jewel, she needed it to be 7. So Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Unless Chunk's not available until later, and then that time at least might change.